Y'all, we got a car video today, and that's just because I got 2 showings, so there's no point in driving home when I'm about to hop right back into the theater. We're talking about Leviticus today, the new religious, gay horror movie that is out in theaters that is getting a lot of hate, a lot of love, and everything in between, and we're going to talk about it. If you don't know who I am Ant. I am your casual movie reviewer that does, casual movie reviews on YouTube. I'm not like other movie reviewers on YouTube that is going to pick apart a film. One little element is going to destroy the whole movie for me. I go in with a very open mind and give you my casual take on YouTube. And I think that's why a lot of people like the take that I'm doing. And a lot of my videos are doing pretty good right now, which I appreciate all of you that watch. But let's talk about Leviticus. Now, I don't have a phone stand in the car, so if the camera's a little bit shaky, it's because I'm shaky. But let's talk about Leviticus. If you don't know what it's about 2 gay kids in a very religious town with very religious families when they find out that they're in a gay relationship and they are put into a ritual that is now like an It Follows situation that is like some kind of demon that takes the appearance of the person that you are into the most, and it ends up being each other, and it's very It Follows. So going into this movie, I didn't have a lot of expectations. I just didn't know what to expect. And I honestly didn't know it was going to be like an It Follows situation. But it actually ended up being pretty solid and pretty good, which I appreciate. So I went in with very mid expectations. And this kind of hit those and exceeded them quite a bit because it actually had a pretty good story and a pretty good, horror elements to it that honestly there were some jump scares in this film that actually got me, and that's actually surprising when it comes to films because I've seen so many horror movies. A lot of movies can't get me because I'm expecting some, and this one actually had some pretty unexpected ones. So let's talk about some pros in this film. I'm kind of bouncing around because I don't have like my talking points. If you don't know me, I'm very bad at remembering things, so I have all my video talking points on a piece of paper right in front of me. And a lot of the times in videos, you can actually see me at the end of clips before they cut away me looking away. And that's because I'm looking at a piece of paper of talking points, because they're the same talking points that I've been doing for, months and months, but I'm really bad at remembering things. So I'm going to kind of bounce around and hit everything the best that I can, but I'm probably going to forget a few things. But let's talk about some pros. So there are a lot of pros in this film, and one of the biggest pros is the story in this film. It's very, like I said, religious horror. There's a lot of good gay elements in this film, and it does it very well, combining those 2 elements to make a pretty solid movie with something we've kind of seen before in It Follows, but it does something on its own that kind of makes it original in a way that makes it kind of fun. So the story in itself is pretty freaking fun, and the horror elements and the spooky vibes, it's got this nice, scary atmosphere in it, which does it pretty well as well. So that's really good. And then the acting in itself, and honestly, some of the practical effects are pretty good as well. So this movie has a lot of pros in it, and there's getting a lot of hate because it's about, gay kids and the homophobic, and you're pushing the gay agenda on people. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it is 2026. Can we stop doing that? But if you care to see a scary movie, you don't give a shit about stuff like that, because I certainly don't. It's a great movie. It's fun. But let's talk about some cons. The cons in this film are very few and far between. The biggest con is that it's very short. It's about 1 hour and 36 minutes. And with it being so short, we don't get a lot of substance. There are a lot of elements that I do wish we would have dived deeper into. Mostly the ritual. We don't really get a lot about the ritual in this film. It's very kind of touch and go. It's very quick. And I think that kind of messes up, the story elements of it. But other than that, it is a pretty solid film. I just wish we would have gotten more out of it. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I actually do think the actor that plays, I think his name is Name, which weird name, but whatever. But it's also Australian. But I think the actor that plays Name was in Talk to Me, and I think the people that did Talk to Me, they either produced this or directed, I'm not sure. But the cast, I think, did have fun, and that was kind of the point that I was getting to, is I do think the cast did have fun. And honestly, if that's the same actor from Talk to Me, I think that, being around the same people that, did Talk to Me gave it a little bit more extra fun. And I think just bringing these cool, dark, religious, elements to the film really is a fun time. And you can kind of see that translate to the screen, but the acting is solid when it comes to horror, and it is a different kind of acting than you would get out of like a comedy movie or just like a family fun movie. It is very serious, so it is hard to tell whether a cast has fun in a film like this, but I do think the way the characters are playing off each other does have some fun elements with some kind of like just like experience type of thing going on. Now let's talk about the standout moment of the film. I told you guys this review is going to be a little odd if some of the placements are off. I have very bad memory and I'm trying my best. This review will probably have more cuts too, but I'm locking in. I'm trying. Let's talk about the standout moment of the film. If you don't know what the standout moment of the film is, I usually do these in my videos where I talk about the moment of the film that took this film to a crazier spot than we already were at. It takes it to a very more serious point, and it takes us to a very crazier moment than the rest of the film. And I think the standout moment of this film was when Name was dreaming about, Ryan, and he's having all these nice dreams, and then all of a sudden you get this, bloody image of Ryan from the school that we've seen. And then this is the biggest jump scare that got me, was when he wakes up, or I think he's still in the dream, but then that bloody image of Ryan kind of like jumps onto his body, and then he wakes up. And that scene really, really got me. And not only did it like take the scare element to a whole nother level, but it gives you a very real, terrifying like feeling of this entity and how we should feel as an audience. And I think that was really well done in this scene. Now let's talk about Ant's 3 big questions. Would I watch it again? Would I recommend it? And is it going to be better on streaming or in theaters? Would I watch it again? I absolutely do think I will watch this again. I do think this is a film that does get some, good solid horror elements in it, along with, I honestly enjoyed this more than It Follows, because personally, It Follows, I really didn't enjoy as much. Like, you can go on Letterboxd and see my review. I'm pretty sure I have a review up of it. So I really didn't enjoy It Follows as much as I honestly kind of enjoyed this. And I do think this will be a film that I probably will watch again with probably my girlfriend or my family or something like that, because it does have very scary elements to it that make it a good, fun horror movie. Would I recommend it? If you liked It Follows, I probably would recommend this to you. It is very It Follows feeling, and it does, honestly, to me, like I said, I really didn't enjoy It Follows too much. It does It Follows better than It Follows. And honestly, if you like horror elements and you like religious horror, this is probably good for you as well. So I do recommend it, because it honestly is pretty scary, and it does have some really, really good elements in it that make it a fun movie. Now, is this film going to be better on streaming or in theaters? Unfortunately, I do think this film is going to do better on theaters. One, for the hate that it's getting because of these gay elements. I think a lot of people aren't going to see it because it's getting more hate than it is praise, which I think is very sad. I really do think this movie deserves the praise. It is a solid film. And the people who are going to see it are giving it the praise that it deserves, which is solid. But unfortunately, I do think it also is going to get lost between movies like The Death of Robin Hood. We've got Supergirl next week. We've got Toy Story 5. Like, it is going to get lost in a lot of these films, unfortunately. So I do think it is going to do better on streaming. And this film isn't like a very like visually spectacular film. So I mean, I've said this in a ton of videos. I do just enjoy watching movies on the big screen. So if you're like me, you will enjoy that. But I do think like this movie isn't going to get anything like spectacular out of watching it on the big screen. It doesn't do anything crazy visual wise, but it is still a fun film. So I do think that you will get enjoyment out of it at home as well. So with that being said, I gave this film a 4 stars out of 5, just because it is a very fun film. It is very It Follows. It does have some very scary horror elements, but it is very short, and it does miss a lot of substance being that short, and I do wish we would have got more out of it. With that being said, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in for another movie review. We're gonna have a second movie review up on the channel today, so be on the lookout for that. Weirdly enough, it is another like LGBTQ gay movie, so that's kind of weird. I'm in a very gay feeling today, guys. But yeah, guys, so I'll see you in the next movie review. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like, subscribe, hit all those links. Peace.